Hi, Prof. Can you hear me?
Yes, can.
And Dr. Kyrie is here already.
Okay. I
Shall
can't
we
see.
start?
Yes, okay, let's start.
Okay.
Okay, so welcome.
Malaysia.
Yes, you want to record? Great. Okay, so welcome everybody to this PhD Wisdom Talk by Dr. Carrier, and probably one of the best people we could have to give us his wisdom on PhDs, because he's done a lot of examining and a lot of Vivas and a lot of supervision. So he's really, I'm really interested to listen to what he's got to say today. So welcome, Dr. Carrier. Welcome to everybody to the event. Welcome in particular to our new students who might be joining us for the first time. I'm not going to waste too much time introducing it, because Dr. Carrier has got a great deal to say. I think, Doc, you'll do your presentation, then questions afterwards, right?
Yes.
Okay, so when you're ready, the floor is yours. Thank you for coming, by the way.
All right. Good afternoon, good morning, or good evening, depending from which part of the world that you are in. Okay, let me see. Where's my face? Okay, I think I want to. Okay. So today we are going to talk about a topic very much related to all of you on PhD. So let me just put up my screen first. Okay, that's the one. Okay, minimize this. So this is, I think, the series number 6 on PhD Wisdom Talk. You have heard a lot of at least 5 wise people talking to you, and today I just want to emphasize more on the word of wisdom in PhD. That is, you are doing your research, you are doing your data collection, and at the end you produce a paper. So what is the wisdom behind that? Okay, so let's go through it one by one. However, I want to make this session as interactive as possible. Before, I want to start with this. Okay, what do you think this is? This looks like a road system or patterns or something like that. Okay, so this is to introduce to you just a short analogy of our PhD research. So here you see something, and then you look at it, and you define research question on it, right? After you have done some background on it, you do research question. So the research question for this is, are the blue stripes parallel? Okay, and how do we determine, or how do we carry out our research to determine whether they are parallel or not? Okay, a simple way, or the first way of doing it, is to ask or to give questionnaires or to ask people what do they think, they are parallel or not. So this is maybe you do a pilot study first. So you form a hypothesis to say that H1, the blue stripes are parallel. Then your H0, the blue stripes are not parallel. So in the pilot study, you probably go and ask one respondent, what do you think is the blue stripes, the horizontal stripes parallel? And you go another one and ask the same question, and you collect this, and then you make some kind of analysis. So now, by way of this question, I want to get some answers, some inputs from you. You are the pilot study, but I want to do a shortcut. are they able to do the, Nerusha, are they able to do the annotation on my presentation?
Yes, can doctor?
Okay, so a simple way to do it is if you say they are parallel, you just say yes on the left hand side under the green tick, and if you say it's not parallel, you put no on the right.
Sorry, doctor. They cannot make annotation here. Via Teams, they cannot.
They cannot make annotation.
Yeah, they cannot.
Then what do we do?
Unless
Okay.
they use chat box.
Okay, I give you about 1 minute to put in the chat box. Then we will count how many say yes, how many say no. Can we do that? And Nerusha, you monitor that?
Yes, can doctor.
Okay. In the meantime, while they are doing that, if some of you want to comment about this question, go ahead. And I want to make this as interactive as possible. Anybody? If you say yes, then you may want to elaborate on it. If you say no, you may want to elaborate on it. Come on, we want one brave PhD student or ex-PhD student or aspiring PhD student to participate. Someone say yes, you unmute your mic. They can do that, right, Nerusha?
Yes, doctor, they can do that.
Yeah, go ahead. I can't see you, but I can hear you. Go ahead. Anybody raising their hands? No? All right, students or ex-students, the first wisdom of the day, you need to be able to talk. Okay, so I want to hear at least 3 voices to say yes or no, and if you want, elaborate on it, please. Anybody?
May I try, Dr. Kerry?
Yeah, sure. Who's that?
Rajendran, yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's straight line. It's parallel. When you focus that picture, it shows all parallel. But in just on look, it shows not parallel.
Okay. So you say it's parallel because if you focus, it looks parallel. Okay, that's the way you would mean that it is parallel or not. Okay, let's hear 2 more. 2 more answers. Anybody?
Yes, doctor, I say that they are parallel because as of now, they are not meeting each other. So they are parallel. That's what I can say.
So your reasoning is because the lines are not meeting at the end, they are parallel. Yeah. Okay. Well, reasonable. Okay, one more. We have how many participants? At least 30, I think now. So speak, let's speak. What do you think? Are the lines parallel? One more. Hello. If you are in my class, I would call out names and you need to answer. Okay. But since you guys are all adults and going to be a doctor, please be brave to speak. I want to hear at least one more.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, doctor. I do think that let's make it infinite. It may have some kind of a possible. It is in parallel, okay. And also the other idea is that if you focus on, if you try to measure the distance between the 2 blue stripes, it could be proved that in this graph, it is very much like parallel if you focus on. So we could make it two ways, both finite and also you try to make it only in this graph.
Excellent, excellent. I like your first answer. also, that is by extrapolating this, right? So in our research, we do a lot of extrapolation. So if you extrapolate this and draw the lines, do they meet? Draw the lines to infinity, do they meet? If they don't meet, that means they are parallel. Okay, so Nairusha, have you got numbers? How many yes, how many no?
2, 1 yes, 2 no.
How many
Or
people?
2 yes, 1 no. Because no one else responded, Dr. Kari.
Yeah, okay. All right. This also reflect some of the difficulties that we do in research, right? Because we send emails to 1,000 people, probably 2 or 3, probably 20 or 30 people responded. So the response rate is very, very small. When I was doing my PhD, like all the way back 40 years ago, 30 years ago, no, that was about 20 years ago. We use what we call we post a questionnaire, and I posted like 500 questionnaires. Only 30 came back, something like that. And then we use email. Even the email also response rate was very small. It's like 1%. If you get 1%, that's good enough already. So it's demonstrated here. You are representative of respondents. The difficulties in getting respondents to answer. So out of, I think, close to 30 people, I get 3 responses and 3 people spoke. So 6 out of 30, that's about almost 20%. Well, that's a reasonable response rate. All right, so let's do some analysis after we've got the answers. I think if you base on the respondents, the one who spoke say all parallel, and the one who put up is 2 parallel and 1 not parallel, so it looks like the parallel wins. So let's do an actual research. So what I do is, first I cover the lines. Well, it looks almost parallel to me here, but I'm not convinced, so I'll do some more, cover the vertical lines now. Oops, sorry. So now you can confirm with maybe 95% confidence level that the blue lines were actually parallel, right? Okay, let's discuss on the conclusion and summary. What are the lessons learned, or what are the wisdom gained from here? Since I don't expect many of you respond to this, let's say at least one person speak about this. What are the lessons learned from this exercise? What's the wisdom gained?
Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
And this is Bright. From what you have just displayed, it means that when you think of an idea or you think of a situation, things might not appear as they are until you take time and then go through the processes. Then you eventually get to see the actual picture.
Excellent. So when we're doing research, sometimes when we started doing research, we think, oh, I think I know the solution. I think the results is going to be like this. So you are setting up your conclusion already before you even do the research. And at the end, when you do the research, it is actually something else. So you can, there's nothing wrong to form an initial research hypothesis or assumption in the beginning, but however, in your research, the objective is to actually prove one or the other or some other alternative solutions. So these are what we call the wisdom that is gained from your research, something new. Okay. All right. So actually, I started with this just to generate some participation. Hopefully, you guys are warmed up now and can participate more. Okay. Let's look at the topic itself. Of this one is PhD wisdom. I will start with what is PhD? PhD, some people say is permanent head damage, right? In Malay, they say, what was it? There's something else that So there is a lot of funny connotation, connotation of the words PhD. Okay, actually, permanent head damage is not far from truth, because after you do your PhD, your way of thinking is slightly different. May not be damaged, but it's slightly different than before. And you can expect that when you complete your PhD, when you get your doctorate, the way you think will be slightly different, wider. When you look at things like just now the exercise did, when you look at things, you don't look at on the surface, you look what is behind it. That is part of the wisdom behind PhD. So PH is the philosophy. And what is philosophy? Philosophy is knowledge, okay, what you learned. Reality, what is the real thing? At the end of your research, that's what you want to establish. What's the reality? And existence, whether it exists or doesn't, and especially when considered as an academic discipline, okay? You can do some other ways of determining things. However, when you do it in your in academic discipline, you follow the process of research question, research objective, research methodology, and so on. Therefore, you do that and you get your PhD. Another definition of PhD is a theory of attitude that acts as a guidance principle or for behavior. So what is attitude? Attitude is you form an opinion and you act on it based on what you perceive, what you see, what you hear, what you taste. Okay, so you form an attitude. In our case, in PhD, our attitude is formed by the results of our research. And this becomes the guiding principle for us and for others when they get the new knowledge that they learn and how to do things. Okay, so that's the philosophy side of PhD. Now, what is D? D is degree. Now, what is degree to you? It's probably the cert, right? It is hereby declared that so-and-so has achieved the degree of PhD in his study. And comes along with that is your title doctor. Okay, so you got this knowledge, you got this cert, and you got this title. Now, the next thing is, I want you to think, reflect for a while. What was your motivation to pursue for PhD? Okay, I would like to now hear more people saying, what was your motivation of doing your PhD? Be honest, and I'm sure if one say this, there are 5 other people who say the same thing. So let's listen. What was your motivation to pursue PhD?
For promotion.
For
promotion at the workplace and to gain extra knowledge.
Okay, first you started with promotion, right?
Yes.
Is it? Yes, promotion in your career probably, and then gain new knowledge. Okay, that's not the wrong motivation. I think many of you are doing that as well. Yeah.
Doctor, this is Nishant. So for me, it is get the new knowledge and also to have the title as a doctor. So,
all right, to gain new knowledge and gain the title of doctor. Yeah, well, that's good. That's good. What else? Anybody else?
Doc,
yeah.
Okay.
For me,
So,
I am in academia.
okay.
So it's a matter of gaining more knowledge and be able to carry out researches that are academic in nature.
All right, very good. Very good. Gain knowledge and have in academic nature. Okay, I heard somebody else wanted to speak just now. Go ahead.
Yes, I think I side with Prosper. So to have that knowledge to be able to teach at a higher level.
Okay, to have knowledge to be able to teach at a higher level, especially if you are in the academic field, you're a lecturer or something, you want to do that. Okay, Any more? All right, we have listened to that, and let's see. Before I pursue further on that, let's see what is wisdom. Huh? Just keep in mind those things that have been said about the purpose of them, the motivation of them doing the PhD. So what is wisdom? It's the quality of having experience, knowledge, and good judgment. The quality of being wise. So I think at least 3 of you just now mentioned about gaining knowledge, right? So gaining knowledge means you are actually having wisdom for yourself, okay? So when you finish your PhD, you are probably a lot wiser than before. Okay, now this is one article that one of the ex-students or students, is Gobin here, Mr. Gobin? Maybe he's not here. So I took this from, I think he shared this in the IPS group. So it says train PhD students to be thinkers, not just specialists. Because PhD is a very much specialist subject. You just get one idea and prove that whether it's right or wrong, or what is a new thing that you can get from there. So if you just specialist there, the wisdom of PhD is still not there, okay? So the purpose of doing, not the purpose, one of the benefits of doing PhD is to gain wisdom, that is to be thinkers. You can think about, maybe your subject now is, let's say, in transportation and logistics, but as a result of you having done a lot of research and data analysis and so on, you become thinkers. When you see something happens, you think, oh, how does this happen? What is the reason of this happening? Can that be done better? So you become thinkers, and not just thinkers, you become critical thinkers, okay? What are critical thinkers? Okay, I'll just read this to you. Critical thinking is the intellectually disciplined process. It's a process of actively and skillfully conceptualizing, applying, analyzing, synthesizing, and or evaluating information. So how you get information? You gather from or generated by observation, experience, reflection, reasoning, or communication as a guide to belief and action. So that's quite a bit of words. So I have summarized it in these 3 forms. It is about information, it is about evaluation of the information, and the results of that, you form belief and action after of that evaluation, okay? So how do you get information? You gather data, you do questionnaire, you do interview, you observe, and then you experience. You can also, you can also gather data. I'm not sure many of you do that or not. You can join together with an organization. You can just say, I want to observe this organization for 2 weeks, and then you record the information. You can also reflect on your current job, for example, and then you can do the reasoning, and then you can also gather information from talking to people. And then you evaluate the data. This is where you analyze the data by SPSS or whatever. You synthesize, you compile them together, put them together, and derive some results from there. Okay, applying here means you get the results, you may apply it and see whether what you have predicted is correct or not, okay? So after you have done all that, then you have this belief and action, which becomes a reference to you and to others, and to guide you and to guide the others as well. So this is the wisdom of PhD. You gather information, you evaluate in a scientific way and systematic way, and then this becomes a new knowledge. The reference and guidance become a new knowledge. So that is the difference between PhD research with other research. For example, at master level, you may not gain a new knowledge, but you gain probably a solution to a problem, which you can apply in the organization. Here it is, after you come out from your PhD, you can be proud of yourself that you have at least contributed to new knowledge to the world, where they can use it for their other research or from to apply it in their life. So that is the wisdom part of PhD. Okay. Now, quiz. Students should be A, focused in specific area of knowledge, B, exposed to broad area of knowledge. Which one do you think? Should they be focused on specific area of knowledge, or should they be exposed to the broad area of knowledge? Let's hear some more inputs. In PhD, should the students be focused on specific area of knowledge or be exposed to broad area of knowledge?
I think they should be exposed to broad area of knowledge.
Okay, 1%
Then from the broad area, you now narrow down to specific.
Okay, so you go from the broad area into the specific area of knowledge. Okay, that's one opinion. What else? Who else?
I guess if you have only these two options, then option A, focus specific area, is my view.
Okay, so your view is out of your PhD, you should focus on that specific thing that you are researching on and generate the new knowledge. Okay. 2. Anybody else? Just one more. 2.
I think.
Yeah, the lady first, please.
I think both can be the
both?
answers. Both.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just like the first person who talked just now. Very good. Okay. Next one. Somebody else wants to talk?
Yes, I also think that it should be the first one, because if you want to be an authority in your area, you need to be more specific and go into very detail. Okay,
so you should be focused in a specific area. So I say there are 4 respondents. I think 2 says B, and B moving towards A, and 2 says we should stay focused in the specific area of knowledge. Let's wait for the answer later. Now I want to ask this question. In the current process, your PhD process at MUST, what do you think? Are you being guided to focus on specific area of knowledge, or are you being guided to be exposed to broad area of knowledge?
A.
A, one person says A, okay.
I think it should be B.
Not should be. What's the current process from your opinion?
Yeah.
B, okay.
I think it should be B.
Okay, you say the current process is B. Okay. What was it again?
I think it's A.
You think it's A?
Yeah.
Yeah, we are focused on, this is our objective, this is our research question, so we'll focus on that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. All right, I think we have a balanced view of both. Towards the end, I will review this question again. So we can liken the PhD journey as the road, as a long winding road, right? So you start with exploring the research topic, and to do that, you research on the current topics. What are the current topics? Many topics, and then you establish the gaps. And then you determine the research topic. I'm not sure about your own process, but typically this may take up to a year. In my own doctorate last time, it took me almost a year just to narrow down to the topic. Now, what is the problem of finding a proper research topic? I was told, and I'm telling my students as well, that your research topic must bring out something new, some new knowledge. It's not only to prove the previous theories or the previous research, but you must generate something new. That is one condition. The other condition is that it must not be totally new. That's what I was told, and that's also what I'm telling my students, that it must not be totally new. For example, I don't know, you want to research whether what is the lifespan of the sun, for example. Maybe there's already research on that, that's okay. But you should find something that some other people have already done research and you find a gap on it, and that's where you want to develop new knowledge, okay? If you have been spending a lot of time on finding the right topic and your supervisor says no, that is not good enough, then you can understand that you must start with the right topic. Otherwise, if you have gone to your chapter 3 already, then it will be a problem to change the topic. Okay, it's okay, like in the proposal defense, they say, okay, your topic need to be refined, that's fine. There are students, maybe not in this university, at other universities, where the supervisor or the examiner says, your topic is totally irrelevant to PhD. So to find a topic, you need to spend some time with those two conditions. That is, you need to gain new knowledge, and also it must be based on, it's not totally something new, okay? All right. Now, how after that, you carry out a literature review related to the topic that you want to find. And after you do your literature review, probably you will refine your topic again, okay? Now, what do you think is happening when you do literature review? Do you just get the knowledge on the specific topic that you're doing research on, or do you get a broad knowledge of the related topics?
I think it's a broad knowledge of related topics.
So this is where, in your literature review, your knowledge is expanded, okay? Beyond your research topic, okay? You're beyond research. So this is a new knowledge to you that you gain, other than the one that you're going to do research on. Okay. And then you collect and analyze data. This is where you apply your analytical skills, okay? This is like mechanical. You have the data, you put in the SPS, and then it churns out the results that you want to find. And then you got the results. After you get the results, you make recommendations on a few areas. That is, recommendations based on your results. Okay, how can it be applied? And the new knowledge that you have, how can it be applied? And your recommendations invariably will be what other research that can be done based on your research itself. Okay, so this is where you apply critical thinking skills. Critical means even critical to your own results. Is this correct? Is this that's why you have, when you collect data, you analyze, it must have at least 90% confidence level and 10% margin of error. Then you can say, okay, I get the results. And then you prove your hypothesis and say, okay, I've got these results. So this is where you apply critical thinking skills. Sometimes you have to say, ask again, is this really true? Or not? Okay. Now, with all that, when you come to the end of the journey, what have you done? You come up with a new knowledge, otherwise you will not get your PhD. And then you broaden the scope of thinking, even though you have a specific focus to research on. However, by studying, by researching, by your literature review, by interviewing processes, by giving questionnaires, you are actually broadening your scope of thinking. And this is part of the wisdom of PhD. And last but not least, you get the certificate and the doctor title. So PhD, the wisdom of PhD is in contributing new knowledge, in broadening the scope of your thinking, and at the end, getting the certificate and title. And as the first respondent said just now, his motivation to do PhD is to get promotion in his career. Well, that's, I think, if I list down, it will be number 4. Okay. So now you want to reflect on yourself. What was your motivation of doing PhD? And then maybe you want to modify that. Now that I am now doing my PhD because I want to contribute to the knowledge, to the new knowledge. This is the highest level of motivation. Okay. to contribute to the new knowledge, and you will be satisfied that, oh, I contributed to the new knowledge. I can still proudly share the results of my doctorate research on the trust on leadership. So I come up with seven characteristics of leadership that can be trusted. And in teaching leadership, I've been spreading this knowledge around. One of the things that I say is different than your intuitive expectation. A leader who is very friendly, the trust level of the people on them is low. Now, I say that again. A leader who is very friendly, the people less. Okay, so that's quite surprising, because I thought if a leader, our intuition is that if leader is friendly, everyone. My research shows that if they are friendly, they are not. Their trust level of people on them is low. Where if you study organizational behavior, if you are a leader, you need to have a leadership gap. However close you are to your subordinates, there must be some gap. And the reason for that is that so that if you have to reprimand a subordinate and you have some gap between them, then you can easily do that. If you are too close to them, you're too friendly to them, then you find it difficult to criticize your subordinate. So that's one of the findings that I am always proud of. So think about your own research. What would you be proud of when you get the results? What would you be sharing around with people? Okay, and out of that, have you broadened your way of thinking at looking at things, at looking at data, at looking at what's around you? Okay, and then of course you can be proud of your doctor title. All right, so I guess now I come back to that question. Students should be A or B? Now I want to hear 2 or 3 people talk. What do you think they should be? Should they focus on specific area of knowledge? Should they be exposed to broad area of knowledge?
I think it's B.
B. Okay. I want to hear at least another response.
Yeah, I think from B to A.
Fantastic. Okay. So B, yes, you start with broad area of knowledge. At the end, you have focused specific area of knowledge. So you have both. If you are a student, please keep this in mind. You are not your focus should not you should focus on a specific area of knowledge. However, you should start with a broad-based area of knowledge, so you gain more knowledge than just the area of what you are researching on. And this is actually the wisdom of PhD. And if you are the lecturer or if you are the supervisors, please keep this in mind, that you don't want your person too much focus on their knowledge without considering the broad area of knowledge. So they should have both. Okay. All right. So the motivation for doing your PhD should be, I say should be, if it is not, then you may want to assess, you may want to reflect, you may want to review. In terms of priority, should be the first one is contributing to the new knowledge. So that when you do research, you keep thinking, what is the new knowledge that I want to contribute to the world? Secondly, on your own self, to broaden the scope of your thinking. By doing this research, how have I changed my thinking? How have I changed my perspective of the world? Okay, and of course, at the end, you need to get your PhD certificate and your title. So because you can pursue the first 2, and if you don't fulfill the requirement of the university, you will not get your PhD certificate and your doctor title. So that is where I say you put how you put wisdom into your PhD, okay, of contributing to the new knowledge, broadening the scope of your thinking, and getting your PhD certificate and your doctor title. If anybody disagree with me, can say so. Now, I see a blank screen. I think I have another 3 minutes. if it works, I want to show you a video. He says 9 equals 8. Now, how do I play this video? I'll put it on the big screen. Isn't that amazing? Has anyone figured it out? Okay, let me play it again. Nine, right? How many is that? 8. So is 9 equal to 8? Has anybody figured it out? Okay, I'll leave it at that. Okay, so it is sometimes it is about curiosity, it's about analyzing, and here if you just watch it like twice, you are convinced that actually 9 equals 8. Okay, let me end at that. Where is my slide? Okay. Right, discussion and question and answers. I finished my delivery. Thanks, Narusha. Prof.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot. Any questions from anybody? We have some time. I know there were some questions during the discussion, but if anyone has questions now, please feel free.
Thank you, Muhammad. Or you can ask question in the chat box.
Dr. Khairul.
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks for your. I think it's really put a straight line to my thinking, especially what I am trying to do in terms of broadening the knowledge. For example, if you take say any topic, which is the topic of the research, how much you can broaden, because there is a boundary. For example, I'm doing a research on project management related area. So can you go? I mean, go to periphery, and will it be too much? I think?
Yes. Of course, broadening the knowledge has also got its own boundaries. Okay. For example, if you do research in management, are you going to talk about all types of management? From the basic theory of management to the organizational behavior and stuff like that? No. If you want to look at, for example, leadership, for example, okay, let me reflect on my own research on leadership trust. I dwell quite a bit on organizational behavior. I deal quite a bit on motivation. I deal quite a bit on interpersonal relationship and other things. Yeah, because the knowledge, as broad as it can be, encompass the whole world, right? That's the widest. So even though we say broaden your knowledge, there should be some boundaries. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kasim.
Okay, Doc. My question is how broad or how narrow a topic should be, because there are certain times supervisors will tell you that your topic is too broad, you can't get around it. The other time they tell you it's too narrow, you get stuck.
Yeah.
So what is the reasonableness in choosing the topic?
That is an excellent question, which there is no specific answer, because broad and narrow is relative, depending on the subject. For example, like myself, I did trust, leadership trust, right? The relationship between such and such character to leadership trust. So initially, the title was not like that. The title was something like effectiveness of leadership. That's very broad. Okay, so is trust, leadership trust, is that narrow enough? Depends. It depends. Okay, but you can gauge Like if you say just leadership characteristics, for example, that's very broad. So what is the specific characteristics that you want to look at? Probably a question that you can ask to see whether you are narrow enough or not. Okay, to say what is in that particular topic that you want to look at. So if you can narrow it down further, what is in that narrow topic that you can specifically look at, until you come down to maybe one very focused. The idea is focus characteristics. So that is my answer to that, Stephen.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Stephen, have you got your hand up?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. To try to unmute your mic, then you can ask your question.
No, he's already done that.
Already done. Okay. Any other questions? Comments, observations, clarifications? Okay, if not, Prof, do you have anything to conclude with?
Yes. I hope, even though right now some of you are very quiet and no response, I am sure deep in your mind that you are thinking about this. What is the wisdom of you doing the PhD? And believe me, tomorrow or the next day, you will come up with, yeah, that is actually the reason why I'm doing my PhD. That's a true motivation. Okay, sometimes our mind works that way, that we are still thinking about it. We can't articulate what it is. However, it gets clearer and clearer as the time goes. So I hope in your PhD journey, you will gain some of these wisdoms that I talk about, and that is where the real achievement of PhD is. That's all. Thank you very much for all your participations. I see close to 50 people. I think more than 50 people here. In fact, someone is still joining here at the lobby. Okay, Prof. Jeff, Narusha, and Bhavani, I guess that's all I have. Thank you.
Oh, okay, thanks, Dr. Carrier. Thanks for the presentation. I think the slides are available, or will be available if anyone wants them. But
Thank you
for
very
me,
much.
they were the nicest type of slides because they're just to prompt the discussion rather than to have us read from it. So thank you all for that. Thanks to Bhavani and Nirusha for organizing the event today.
Prof, I'll share the feedback form link here.
Yes, so please take a little bit of time to fill out the feedback form. This is really useful in helping us to make sure that we can design the PhD Wisdom Talks in the way that's most helpful to you all. And it only takes a couple of seconds to fill out. So before you leave, please take a look at the form and fill out the form. Thanks again, Dr. Carrier. Thanks again, Nirusha and Bhavani. Thanks to everybody for attending, particularly all of those who are new students joining us for the first time. Welcome and thanks for coming. And we hope to see you next week. Who is next week?
Thank you. Thank you.
Who is next week?
Pardon, Prof?
Who is the speaker next week? What is the topic next week?
Dr. Kui for monthly workshop.
Fantastic. So that will be great. Good. So we'll see you next week for the monthly research methods workshop. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. Have a great evening. And for those of you, excuse me, starting your weekend early, have a great weekend. Thanks.